Nebius stock is up more than 242% this year, trading around $83, and everyone keeps asking me the same thing. Can the stock keep going? Maybe even get to $250 over the next year or two? Or is the floor about to drop out? Because on paper, the story, it looks unreal. A one-year-old AI company growing like wildfire. They're landing a $3 billion deal with Meta, and they're running on some of the fastest NVIDIA hardware on the planet. I mean, I don't even think the market understands what they just unlocked. Nebius, they just posted revenue growth of roughly 355% year over year, but they also burned about $120 million this quarter. And this gap is the part that we skip, right? It might be the real signal where the stock goes next. And there's something that I'm watching closely that I haven't heard anyone else talk about. The Token Factory. If it scales, and I think it could, I see Nebius going from a rental supercomputer story into something much bigger. And stick around because I'm going to show you what this means for the stock, the risks that you might be underestimating, and what the next 12 months could look like for long-term investors. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name is Rick Orford. I've been trading since 1999, and no, I'm not a financial advisor. That's a good thing. I break down the numbers so retail investors like us can make smarter, more confident decisions with our money. Nebius Group builds the kind of infrastructure where AI models train and practice, so they're successful in the real world. And this is where models like Amazon's Alexa and Siri, well, where they go to get better and faster at helping you. This fits their idea of endless possibilities with AI in the cloud. By the way, I wanted to give a quick shout out to our friends at Moomoo for sponsoring this video. I gotta say, I'm loving their AI assistant. I mean, it's kind of like ChatGPT, but it's connected with real-time market data, so you can get in-depth and pinpoint analysis. And if that's not enough, new and qualified users from the States can get up to $1,000 worth of NVIDIA stock and up to 8.1% APY for a limited time with their cash sweep program. Scan this QR code or check the link in the description to see why 27 million users trust Moomoo for their everyday trading needs. The company operates out of Amsterdam, and they run giant computer hubs that are filled with NVIDIA's chips that other companies can rent to train and run AI. Instead of every startup or lab buying their own supercomputer, they can just hop onto Nebius's cloud and get all the power they need. So instead of spending millions building out their own data centers, customers can just swipe a credit card and instantly rent some serious AI horsepower from Nebius. Their managed services, for example, saves engineers the hassle of managing drivers and upgrades. All right, what does it mean in English? Well, Nebius just handles all the complicated setup and maintenance issues so engineers can ship features instead of babysitting servers. I think that's a great idea, by the way. Then Nebius Academy, it helps startups and researchers unlock more capabilities with AI knowledge through their own courses, because they want everybody building AI to get top-of-the-line software and education so they can build faster, so that we can advance faster. And this is very smart, right? Then we have Avride. This is the self-driving arm of Nebius that develops autonomous cars and delivery robots. And this makes tasks like ride-hailing, package delivery, and warehouse cargo even easier, all thanks to automation and programming over at Nebius. Then we've got Nebius's Triple 10. This is an online education platform that helps adults switch careers into tech. They run coding and data boot camps, give structured lessons, and even help graduates connect with hiring partners. So someone who used to work in a non-tech job can now learn programming and land a better role and make more money. And this, get this, it's been recognized as one of the top software boot camps in the United States. So from AI cloud to self-driving to boot camps, Nebius is quietly building an ecosystem around the entire AI economy. And that's why this story is so much bigger than one product alone. So what's been going on with Nebius? Well, folks on my Discord have been wondering too, so let's get into some of the recent media. So Nebius is opening a powerful new AI cloud setup in the UK that uses NVIDIA's GPUs. This means that companies in London now have easier access to rent a powerful supercomputer brain that'll let them develop and train AI models. And why does it matter? Well, if you're in London and you want to build your own ChatGPT, well, now you can. You can now plug into Nebius instead of flying your data halfway across the world. And remember, this kind of local, high-performance AI infrastructure can be a huge moat if demand keeps exploding, which is exactly what I'm watching. And it's things like this that keep moving the stock higher, right? So let's dive into how the stock has been performing. Today, Nebius stock is currently trading around $94. That's about 7% more than the last time I covered them with all the volatility in the market. The stock grew more than 242% year to date and about 328% in the last 52 weeks. This is amazing growth, and if you got in early, very good, right? But I'm not entirely surprised. The stock is crazy volatile. Its 60-month beta is over 3, meaning the stock moves 3 times as much as the S&P 500. So if the market drops 1% today, Nebius drops about 3% on average. But the same thing happens in reverse on the way up. And their volatility could have something to do with how young the company is. Since they only came into the picture a year ago, their immense growth over the last 52 weeks has caused their valuation and sentiment to fluctuate. Now, if you're an early adopter today, you'd better be ready for that bumpy ride on the way up. But keep in mind, this stock grew from a small cap underdog to a mid cap player within 2025 alone. And I'm really excited about 2026 because they've already graduated to the bigger league, right? But the price is still trading like a high beta story stock. And that gap is exactly where traders and long-term investors see either opportunity or risk. So news and all is nice, as is the fact that the stock is rising, but we also need to take a look under the hood and see the financials. Now, I did do a deep dive on Nebius's latest quarter earnings, which you can watch up here. But to recap, in the third quarter of 2025, Nebius did report about $146 million in revenue. A year ago, same quarter, they only made $32 million. So their sales grew around 355%, which is extremely fast. I mean, they basically 4 times their sales in the period of 1 fiscal year. So this is definitely hyper growth territory. But even with that growth, Nebius is still not profitable, at least not quite yet. Now, if you look at normal net income, they lost about $120 million this quarter compared to about $44 million a year earlier. But this spending isn't directionless. Hear me out. There is a purpose here. They're deliberately trading short-term profits for speed. Because in AI infrastructure, the winner often locks in those big, sticky customers first. And to keep funding growth, Nebius signed a 5-year AI infrastructure deal worth about $3 billion with Meta, and they set up a program that now lets them sell up to 25 million new shares gradually into the market when they need more money. So Meta is basically agreeing to be a huge long-term customer, and Nebius is giving itself the option to raise cash from investors over time instead of all at once. So for a young AI cloud company, this mix of growing revenue, heavy investments, and big customers like Meta means they're trying to grab as much of the AI infrastructure future as possible, even if that hurts profits a little bit right now. And if Nebius can pull this off, early investors are effectively funding an important vertical in this AI boom, which is historically where a lot of that long-term wealth gets created. But if they stumble, all that dilution and spending is probably going to crush returns, which is why we have to dig deeper before calling it a slam dunk. Now, the financials were great. They're like a report card, though, right? The catalysts, though, they tell us how the stock could grow. So let's circle back to Nebius's new AI cloud in the UK. If you're wondering why this is so important, it's because businesses won't have to shell out extra money to own their own supercomputer. Many companies today are looking to develop chatbots, generate AI images, and conduct scientific research, all which require supercomputing power. Now today, they can simply rent it from Nebius. And even if you had the means to get your own, you just save so much more money by renting one of the best supercomputers from Nebius. And of course, they're also secure, which is important for companies that handle sensitive information. Some of the partners who said they already want to work with Nebius in the UK include life sciences companies like Basecamp Research and Primamente. Life sciences companies want to use AI to make research faster and easier, which will allow them to discover new medicines and understand complex concepts without wasting much time sending data to be processed abroad. In the middle of a major international hub, companies in the region now have access to a supercomputer with top-tier NVIDIA hardware that's dedicated to AI, which is excellent news for Nebius and their customers. And then Nebius just built Token Factory. This is a massive machine that makes it easier and cheaper to run AI models in the real world. The idea is for businesses to use Nebius's platform to edit open source models like ChatGPT and DeepSeek and turn them into something like a chat box or a customized search box so their customer has a better time interacting with the business. Because Nebius's technology is so advanced, these businesses can now offer these tools to their customers with a high reliability rate and a super low delay, making interactions that much easier. So how does Nebius guarantee this performance? Well, it's because they use the super fast processing GPUs, those Blackwell chips from NVIDIA, to build their high quality technology. I mean, Nebius is trying to become the behind-the-scenes engine that powers everything from AI customer support to research tools, and they want it to feel instant and always on for the end user. So those who already use their Token Factory, they're already using it for things like coding assistants and customer support agents. And some companies are already reporting benefits, like huge savings of upwards of 26 times the labor costs, while increasing productivity by handling up to 200 billion tokens a day. And that is a lot. And keep in mind, this is all without the customers having to pay for maintaining their own servers. I mean, when customers can save that much money and boost output, they're far less likely to be switching providers, which means Nebius gets to turn into a recurring revenue machine instead of a one-off project vendor. So the real question is not are they growing, but how durable is this growth once more competition shows up? And that is what retail investors need to watch. Of course, with all this excitement around the stock, it is important to look at the other side of the equation. Nebius's success, well, kind of relies on how well NVIDIA performs. I mean, they always use Blackwell gear along with other of NVIDIA's technologies. And even their new location in the UK features NVIDIA's tech, which shows you how much NVIDIA relies on them. And I see it's a bit of a risk because they're sort of putting all their eggs in one basket. NVIDIA, and that can be scary when you're not really in control. I mean, Nebius is relying heavily on NVIDIA, and they'll feel any hiccups that could come up. I'm not saying they will, but supply issues, pricing changes, competition, all of that could hurt them right away. So with all that, is Nebius a buy at these levels? Well, consider that a consensus among 8 analysts rate the stock a moderate buy with an average score of 4.38, and the score has been fluctuating up and down over the last few months. But despite the recent drop, analysts have raised their high target price to $211, meaning there's as much as 150% upside potential in Nebius. And I tend to agree, Nebius is popping up in all the right places. They're offering companies exactly what they need to keep up in the AI race. And companies are also signing up to Nebius up on their own, on their offer. That new deal with Meta sounds promising, and it should bring them closer than ever to break even. And analysts, they're basically saying that there's a lot of upside that's baked into the story, but it depends on Nebius turning all this growth and all this hype into sustainable cash flow. Now, if you've watched me before, you know that I typically invest in companies once they're actually profitable. this is one that I'd probably watch on the sidelines. I mean, I really like what they're doing, and I think that they've got a very good chance of success. If I were to start a position today, I'd probably start small and build it up over time. But once they turn a profit, damn, I think I could see the stock surging. $211 could just be the beginning. $250, $300, all possibilities. It just depends on how efficient Nebius's management is at converting revenue into profit. But what about you? Did I get this right? Are you buying? Are you holding? Are you watching? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And while you're there, don't forget to like and subscribe, especially if you found the video helpful, because it'll help others find the video. It supports the channel, and you won't miss out on any of my future deep dives. Well, folks, that's it for me today. I want to thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.